What if your brain suddenly stopped telling you what's real? What if the quiet signal that says, "This is familiar," simply went silent? Your memory is intact, your eyes work fine, yet something feels deeply wrong. You look at a face you've known your entire life, a parent, a partner, even your own reflection, you recognize them. But the feeling of familiarity is gone. Why does someone you know so well suddenly feel like a stranger? Why does reality feel correct, but emotionally false? This isn't memory loss. This isn't imagination. It's a rare neurological glitch where recognition remains, but emotional certainty collapses. Neuroscientists call this unsettling breakdown jamais vu, the disturbing opposite of déjà vu, when something intimately familiar suddenly feels alien, wrong, and unreal. Jamais vu does not introduce novelty. It strips away the comfort of the known. Unlike its more famous counterpart, déjà vu, which cloaks a new experience in an illusion of past memory, jamais vu does the reverse. It takes a piece of your world, something deeply ingrained in your consciousness, and renders it foreign. The feeling is not one of discovery, but of profound loss. It's as if a fundamental layer of your reality has been peeled back, revealing something stark and unrecognizable underneath. The architecture of a familiar room can suddenly seem illogical. The sound of a loved one's voice might feel synthetic and distant. The experience is deeply isolating because the world remains unchanged. It is your internal sense of connection to it that has been severed. You are left stranded in a landscape you know by heart, but can no longer feel. Neuroscientists are beginning to map the origins of this cognitive dissonance. The leading hypothesis points to a temporary breakdown in the brain's highly sophisticated pattern recognition systems. Areas like the temporal lobe, responsible for memory and facial recognition, are thought to become momentarily fatigued or oversaturated. Imagine staring at a single word for too long until it dissolves into a meaningless collection of shapes. This is a microdose of jamais vu, an effect called semantic satiation. Scientists believe a similar process can occur on a much larger scale. When the neural circuits that tag experiences with the feeling of familiar become overstimulated, they may trigger a protective, albeit jarring, reset. The system briefly shuts down to prevent overload, and in that silent gap, familiarity vanishes. The brain is essentially rebooting its own reality check software. This neurological reset explains why the most mundane elements of our lives can become targets for jamais vu. It is the very repetition and overlearning of these elements that makes them vulnerable. You might be writing a simple, common word, a word you have written thousands of times, when suddenly it looks misspelled, bizarre, or like a foreign symbol you have never encountered. Your own name, the most personal identifier you possess, can suddenly feel like it belongs to someone else. The graceful curves of your own handwriting can appear as the work of a stranger. These are not signs of memory loss. You have not forgotten the word or your name. Rather, the automatic, effortless feeling of correctness that should accompany them has been temporarily suspended. Your brain, for a moment, has forgotten how to feel familiar with itself. The triggers for this phenomenon are often as mysterious as the experience itself. However, patterns have emerged. Jamais vu frequently appears during periods of intense stress, sleep deprivation, or mental exhaustion. It is in these moments of vulnerability that the brain's delicate machinery is most susceptible to misfiring. The feeling of losing control over one's environment or thoughts can also act as a catalyst. Migraines, certain types of epilepsy, and even moments of intense focus can precede an episode. The brain, pushed to its cognitive limits, loses its stable footing. The seamless integration of perception, memory, and emotion begins to fray. It is as if the constant, resource-intensive process of maintaining a stable reality requires a level of cognitive energy that, under duress, the brain simply cannot spare. Intriguingly, jamais vu does not exist in a vacuum. It is often reported alongside other strange states of consciousness, forming a constellation of reality glitches. Individuals who experience sleep paralysis, the terrifying state of being awake but unable to move, are more likely to report episodes of jamais vu. The same is true for those who experience dissociation, the feeling of being detached from one's own body or from reality itself. These phenomena all share a common thread. They represent a temporary decoupling of different brain functions that normally work in perfect harmony. Sensation becomes separated from perception. Awareness becomes separated from physical control. And in the case of jamais vu, knowledge becomes separated from the feeling of knowing. Despite the profound and often frightening nature of the experience, for the vast majority of people, jamais vu is harmless. It is a transient glitch in the system, not a sign of impending mental collapse. Like a muscle cramp in the brain, it is uncomfortable and alarming, but it passes. The feeling of familiarity almost always returns, often as suddenly as it left. Understanding the neurological basis of jamais vu can be a powerful antidote to the fear it instills. It transforms the experience from a terrifying tear in the fabric of reality into a fascinating, albeit unsettling, glimpse into the brain's inner workings. It is a reminder that our perception is an active, ongoing construction, not a passive reflection of the world. When the signal of familiarity fades, even briefly, it leaves behind a quiet warning. It reminds us that our sense of reality isn't fixed. It isn't guaranteed. What we experience as stable and predictable is actually a delicate neurochemical agreement, a story the brain tells itself moment by moment to keep the world coherent. Jamais vu is what happens when that storyteller hesitates. And in that pause, you're forced to realize something unsettling. The world doesn't suddenly change. Your access to it does. Reality, it turns out, is not just what exists. It's what your brain allows you to feel as real.